Hi, everybody, and welcome back once again here to Off Track TV Live, coming to you from the Weedsport Speedway Studios in Weedsport, New York, along with Dan Kapuscinski. I'm the voice, Shane Andrews, and it's great to be back once again. Dan, it seems like it's been forever since we've had a chance to wax poetic.
Yeah, it really has been. You know, the last part of the summer there, we've been busy covering go-kart races, and I was a little extra busy in some of the work that I do out there. So I was thinking about that on the ride out. It's been a while since we've had a chance to be in here and chat about all the things that have been happening in the dirt racing world.
And this is your opportunity to chat with Dan and I. If you have questions you want to send us, by all means, we invite you to info@weedsportproductions.com or like us on Facebook and then submit your questions that way. You can hit us up on Twitter. I'm at NYVoice13. And Dan, your Twitter account?
At Dan_Kapuscinski.
And that really should all be in capital letters. It should say defending two-time champion at the Oswego Speedway. We're going to kick the show right off with that, Dan. Congratulations. 2 in a row, your championship up at the Oswego Speedway. What a season you had, my man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of dream seasons, I guess you could say, Shane. One that's, probably will never happen again. The thing I'm most proud of is our race team. We completed every single lap that could be run this season at Oswego Speedway, ended with a second consecutive championship, got a classic win on Labor Day weekend. So it was a lot of fun. It was rewarding working with the team this year and hoping for more in the future.
How gratifying is it to finally get that win on Classic Weekend? A weekend that you literally grew up going to every year.
Yeah, I referred to it earlier with somebody else I was talking to as a stress reliever because there's a lot of pressure packed into that. A lot goes into that weekend. Obviously, it's a long race. Things kind of worked out for us. And like I said, it was a big relief going across the line for sure.
You had 10 races in 2022. You won 8 of them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you started on the pole or in the front row. You were the handicapping system. You were starting back 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th every week.
Yeah, we were as far back as 10th or 12th pretty much every race, and had to really use patience and take our time. And like I said, a lot of things worked our way this year. You don't win 8 out of 10 without a boatload of luck on your side as well. So everything just kind of worked out for us.
Hey, Don, join me. How about a round of applause for Dan? Come on, yeah. Congratulations, buddy. A fantastic season. Job well done.
Thank you very much.
Excellent job.
Thank
Congratulations. Dan isn't just a pretty face. He's an excellent racer, and he covers a lot on the Super DIRTcar Series with us as his pit reporter, the race director at the Cartway.
Yep.
We've got a lot of things going on, Dan, and it's always great to get your insight, especially with everything that's going on. This is the time of the year that you and I both really enjoy. It's that crispness in the air. The leaves are changing. Yeah, football season has started, but there's some big races coming up.
Yeah, you can literally smell it in the air. The temperature is changing. And Shane and I, we were chatting earlier. I drive by Oswego Speedway every day on the way to the credit union that I work for in town. And it's this time of year that I really look forward to. Every day there's something more happening at Oswego Speedway. As that track ramps up, you then know that all the other tracks are gearing up for their events. The Outlaw 200, we've got Fonda coming up this weekend, the Gerald Harris Memorial at Land of Legends Raceway. It's the postseason, and you can feel it. There's no doubt about it.
Let's talk a little bit about each of those, because all of those races, with the exception of Gerald Harris, because it's still only a couple of years old, has really become a major event in Northeast racing. But you look at the Fonda Speedway, the history of the Fonda Speedway, the 200 weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's been going on for 70 years down there at the Track of Champions, and that's a race that a lot of people, really congregate to because of the history and the racing.
Absolutely, and it's a full weekend of action. That's what these races are all about, is that build up to the big grand finale, 200 laps, $53,000 to the winner, the richest winning purse for Dirt Modifieds this year. It's an incredible event, and all the big dogs are going to be there.
And it's not an easy place to get around.
No.
Fonda Speedway is a tough place to get around, and there's a couple of drivers that you've got to look at that are probably odds-on favorites. One of them in the truck race here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway, that's Stuart Friesen. He'll be in town for that event.
Yeah, obviously one of the names that always comes to the surface when you're talking about Fonda Speedway. Like you said, it's one of those tricky surfaces, a unique racetrack that the drivers with a lot of experience there, more so on a weekly level, or not even guys that run weekly anymore, but just know that track, can be able to pull some stuff out of their back pocket when the track gets really tricky towards the end of that race.
With 3 nights of racing down at the Fonda Speedway kicking off tonight. And then, of course, this weekend it starts tomorrow out at the Land of Legends Raceway, the Gerald Harris Memorial. And for those of you not familiar with Jerry Harris, Jerry was the dad of Justin Harris, the number 3 track champion this year at the Land of Legends Raceway. Phelps Cement Products, the patriarch of that company, a longtime supporter of Dirt Car Northeast, Dirt Motorsports, and racing throughout the Northeast, and an untimely passing a couple of years ago. And in an honor and a tribute to him and the family, they have the Gerald Harris Memorial, and this has become a must-get-to event each year.
It really has, and it's a fitting event for the Gerald Harris Memorial. There's no doubt about that. Racing over the course of 2 nights, but what I like is it's very unique in the sense that there's 20-lap qualifying races, lots of lap money on the line. Paul Cole and his team do a really good job of being inventive, being creative, not just making it a straight plain 100-lap race. There's a lot going into it to put that intrigue on the line. And, of course, $10,000 to win and $1,000 to take the green is nothing to bat an eyelash at.
Yeah, that's right. Ask Chris Heil about that when
Absolutely.
he pulled off the win a couple of years ago. And that really, Chris is a phenomenal racer, but that race just seemed to put him over to that next step, if you will.
Right. Well, we talk about the confidence factor all the time. It doesn't always necessarily matter who's there. It matters how you feel and the amount of money that you put in your back pocket at the same time. It can make you feel like Superman, and sometimes literally that's all you need to get over that edge, like you said, Shane, and start creating that momentum down the road.
We've all seen the news reports in the last couple of days, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or whatever media outlet you get into. Dan alluded to it right off the top of the show. He drives by the Speedway every day. He sees the progression taking place of turning the Steel Palace into the Clay Palace, Oswego Speedway, and we are 21 days away from the start of the 50th edition of Napa Auto Parts Super Dirt Week. 50 years.
Crazy.
It is. And the clay is already going down at the Speedway. It started this week.
Yeah, actually, I believe it started yesterday, and one of the last posts I had seen is that it's already pretty much, I think they're done actually covering the paved surface. Now they'll go back through, start tilling and rolling and doing the things they need to do to get it into shape. But Jeremy, Larry, John, and their entire team did a fantastic job of getting that clay down in the right amount of time. I was nervous yesterday when they were starting, only because there were a lot of black clouds looming around, and I thought maybe they were going to get interrupted by a few rain showers, but they got lucky. It stayed dry, and I'm no expert, but I believe the clay looks really nice as it's been going down onto the Speedway.
From all the reports that I've seen, all the videos, and everybody that I've talked to, they're having the clay is sensational. They're working it. Obviously, Mother Nature is giving it the necessary time that they need, which is fortunate, and also some new technology going into putting the clay down this year with the GPS that they use to put the right amount of clay down. I think it's 7 or 8 inches.
Yeah, I believe right up to the 8-inch mark. The nice thing about the GPS is they can literally ensure that they have all of the footage, all the inches just correct at every various part of the Speedway. There's no guessing involved in that. They can drop that down, know exactly where they're at, where they're standing. The track surface didn't go down quite as thick as it had in the past. I have a feeling that's going to work out in its favor. But like we said, the biggest thing right now is that the long-range forecast through early next week shows nothing but sunshine, which is going to be the best thing for the racing surface.
Well, that's perfect. And Super Dirt Week kicks off on Monday, October 3rd up at the Oswego Speedway. More to come right here on Off Track TV about that as well. One thing we do need to make mention of, we talk about all the positive stuff in racing, and sometimes the negativity pops up and rears its ugly head, and we're still waiting to get confirmation on what is actually going to happen. But there's a lot of rumors swirling around about the future of Grandview Speedway down in Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania, a track that I've had the opportunity to get to and have called a bunch of Super Dirt Series races. Looks like the track has been sold, and we don't know what the future of the Speedway is going to be.
Yeah, I was lucky enough actually to announce a Super Dirt Series race there once in your stead. You were out at Eldora, I believe, covering a race for speed at the time. A fun racetrack to be at. I've always watched races on television whenever I could from Grandview, and it's really a kind of a kick in the gut, Shane, because you look at Grandview as a speedway that always seems to have packed grandstands, always has a lot of race cars in the pit area, and you see this situation happen. So it makes you believe that, it could happen anywhere. So you have to take advantage of what you have when you have it, treat the people right when you can, your promoters and the people running these races, keep them in your good graces, because when these folks don't want to do it, things change.
Well, the Rogers family have done a tremendous job.
Absolutely.
Down at Grandview Speedway, and no matter what happens, we wish them all the best. Obviously, we sit here as race fans, and in the motorsports world, we want to see it be a speedway
For sure,
forever.
no doubt.
Before we go to break, we have a very special guest coming up here with us tonight. He's Adam Pierson. He'll be joining us in our next segment. But before we take a pause for the cause, all of us here at Off Track TV and Weedsport Productions pass our heartfelt condolences to the family, friends, and fans of Dave Lape. Dave will always be associated with the Fonda Speedway, where he was a 7-time champion and winner of 99 feature events. Dave was the 1977 Mr. Dirt champion and member of 2 Hall of Fames, and a feature winner and track champion here at Weedsport. Godspeed, number 22.
Make way for the first ever Chevy Silverado CR2. With Multimatic shocks, rugged 33-inch tires, and front and rear electronic locking differentials.
Dude, this is awesome, but we should get back to work. This good? Perfect.
If you're going to work remote, work remote. Find new workspaces.
See your Central New York Chevy dealers.
Last night
Right off the thruway, Weedsport Speedway has something for everyone. Live music in the beer garden. Kids Play Zone. Weedsport Speedway's award-winning concessions. Meet the racers. Check out the cars. Get your swag on at the Gearbox. Treat yourself at Sunday's Ice Cream. And of course, the fastest cars and the biggest stars in dirt racing. Super Dirt Week kicks off at Weedsport Speedway on Tuesday, October 4th. Welcome back to Off Track TV Live. That's right, we do kick off Super Dirt Week right here, October 4th. And with the Cavalcade Cup weekend, day number 2 being rained out, the Dirt Car Sportsman Classic has been moved to the 4th. 75 laps, $2,500 to win, Dan, to kick it off, along with the Dirt Car 358 Modifieds.
Yeah, it's already a huge week for the Dirt Car Sportsman, and now you open it up with one of the most prestigious sportsman events that there are. That Sportsman Classic race is always a top-flight show here at Weedsport. It's going to be exciting to kick off the week with such a big show.
It sure is, and, you know, we've had a lot of action still left us coming your way here at the Shortport, the go-kart track here at the Weedsport Speedway, this weekend back in action.
Yeah, that's right. Sunday, September 18th, we're going to have the James Schutz Memorial back here at Weedsport Kartway. That's going to be a $1,082 to win event for our Pro Clone Super Heavy class. So those are the drivers that weigh 200 pounds and up. We'll have the rest of our points classes as well. So that kind of gets us back into the swing for our end of year stretch at the Kartway. We'll have another big show on October 15th and 16th to round out the year.
And you know, the last couple of weeks, the Super DIRTcar Series has been in action. Let's catch you up on a few things that's happened on the tour. Back on August 24th at the Ransomville Speedway, Matt Williamson finally getting off the Schneid, picking up his first win on the tour this year.
Yeah, who would have thought it would have taken that long to see the Buzz 288 in Victory Lane? But of course, Ransomville, a track he's very, very familiar with, and it's getting to be Money Matt season. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean, Shane? We're getting down here to the last stages of the year, and that's when that 88 car really starts to shine.
Peter Britton, Gary Lindbergh, Matt Shepard, Eric Rudolph were your top 5. Lebanon Valley Speedway, Mr. Dirt Track USA, $25,500. No surprise that Andy Becchetti picked it up.
No, in a bit of revenge, right? I mean, he was running up front in that event back in May when we were there to cover the race as well. Had transmission issues that took him out of that one. So it was no surprise for me to turn up the Twitter machine there on Labor Day weekend and see that the 4 was back in Victory Lane.
4 of the top 5 finishers on that night were Lebanon Valley Speedway regulars. It was Keith Flack finishing second, Brett Haas third. The only Super Dirt Series regular in the top 5, Billy Decker was 4th, and it was Colby Schroeder picking up the 5th position. Last weekend, Weedsport Speedway Cavalcade Cup weekend. We started things off with a 60-lapper for the Super DIRTcar Series and with the Empire Super Sprints, and it was one name in Victory Hill.
Yeah,
it was Larry White.
A double dose of lightning, right?
Yeah.
Got the modified win and the sprint car win. And, you know, when Larry gets on a roll, he's truly on a roll. When that guy gets in the groove, it's hard to beat him, and he was certainly money here on night number 1 of that Cavalcade Cup. A shame that we couldn't get things going for the second day of that program, but a good way to start the weekend. And one of these days, we're going to get a 2-day show in for the modifieds at Weedsport. It's going to happen.
Well, it was Larry White picking up the win, Matt Shepard second. How about Zach Payne finishing third, Chris Heil fourth, and Rocky Warner coming home fifth?
Yeah, you know, Zach Payne, again, you come back to the confidence factor. He knows how to get around Weedsport, a former Sportsman Classic champion. Twice now, I think he's been in the redrawn Super Dirt Series races here this season. So he just keeps ticking them off.
You talk about drivers that have that confidence factor. Our guest here tonight has that confidence as he has been running very well on the Super DIRTcar Series in 2022 out of East Corinth, Vermont. He is the chauffeur of the number of 215, Adam Pierson. Adam, good evening and welcome to Off Track TV.
How we doing, everybody?
Excellent. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me on the show tonight.
Well,
pretty awesome.
You know, I think it's only appropriate because your kitchen is for dancing, and you dance on the speedway with that 215. And I'll tell you what, you have come on the Super DIRTcar Series this year. What's been the big key for the turnaround so far in 22?
Probably the biggest thing is really building a notebook, and a lot of just really confidence at the racetracks, because a lot of the tracks I go to I don't really have a lot of notes with them. I don't really run them a whole lot. Probably the last couple of years, but with the big block stuff, it's completely different than a sportsman. And it's a learning curve. But I don't know. I think that's the biggest thing. And again, Dan mentioned earlier about confidence. I mean, when you feel like you can actually run up front with them, it kind of changes the outcome of the race, because you just feel good the whole time. The only thing we're lacking is to finish off the last 40 laps. You know, that's where we're missing it.
Adam, was there a point this season where that confidence really kicked in for you? Was there an aha moment for you in this 2022 season where you felt like, we're finally right on the cusp of where we need to be to really get things going this year?
To be honest, it actually started at Bridgeport. We were never been there before. We were quick out of the gate. We were running, I think, 11th, with 30 to go, and we blew a motor. But that's kind of where it started. We knew that we were okay, but it really started during the Summer Fast week, really. We were making redraws, and we were running good early, getting top tens, and then really running second to Shepard at Land of Legends was pretty much the icing of the cake. Even though the track kind of helped us, it was kind of heavy, but just to stay up there, kind of follow them a little bit, and kind of hold off a bunch of restarts at the end. I just wanted to be over with. I was happy with second, but that was really kind of the turning stone, really. But it takes a lot of things, not just me in the car. It takes the crew guys. It takes people involved. Everything has to click together to make it work. So I guess that's when it started.
That momentum really started for you in a stretch of races where you had 5 top 10 finishes in 7 events at the Big Diamond racetrack, which not everybody goes to on a regular basis down in Pennsylvania, and you pulled off a 5th place finish there. And I remember a couple of races before that, you and I said, I even said, you're going to crack the top 5 one of these times, and that was your first one where you did it.
Yeah, actually, I kind of forgot about Big Diamond, because we had a little experience with a midget there years ago when I ran for Joe Mancini. I think we had 2 wins there, so I kind of was familiar with the place. But with a midget big block, it definitely is a lot different. But I think that probably helped us. And I guess I kind of watched the video after, and I ran the bottom the whole time. I never really moved off it, and I ran. It really didn't make sense. But it worked out, and it worked. So I was happy with it.
Well, Adam, talk a little bit about that midget experience that you do have, and sort of your upbringing and your start in the sport.
Well, we kind of started. I started when I was 16 years old in a Sportsman Coupe at AIRED Speedway with my dad, Gene Pierson Jr. My grandfather Gene Senior, which he's passed away now, but he raced. His brother Peter raced. My uncle Melvin raced. My uncle Matt raced. So it just kind of was in the blood, I guess. And we kind of went to Bear Ridge for a long time, and I kind of got to the point where I just wanted to do something different, kind of go in New York. You see these races, and it's like, oh, I want to go there. And, I kind of had to fight my dad a little bit because, it's home. We're literally 10 minutes away from the racetrack. And it kind of started probably 12, 11 years ago when I started traveling. Then I met Frank Manafort in a midget. I ran a D2 midget for him at Bradford. He's passed away now, too, a couple years ago. And that's really kind of what kicked things off because we won 3 straight USAC championships in a row. Got to go to Indiana. It's Division II, not the national midgets, but it was still a pretty good feat. And we tied some record for wins in a row or something. And it was pretty cool. And he brought me to the Chili Bowl, which is another whole thing. And I don't know, just kind of kicked off from there. And then, Adam Gage, me and him been friends for probably the last 10 years or so. And he raced himself. And here we are. This is what we're doing.
And
I guess that's it.
Bear Ridge Speedway up there, Butch Elms and April May Preston. It's a hotbed of coupes and sportsmen. And it's not a hotbed for big block modified. So
Right.
to make the trip over to New York State with the big block, there had to be a huge learning curve.
A massive learning curve. I think we've been very, as hometown racing and your local stuff around here, we only have 2 dirt tracks in the state of Vermont, in the whole state. New York's got 500? No, not like that, but they have a lot. So, it's I honestly, with the big block and even the small block stuff, I knew the race cars and stuff, but it's completely different. But still learning. And then you throw all the coil stuff, short rod technology, and shocks and everything else. And I'm just really a redneck from Vermont, and I just kind of drive the car and feel like, all right, this is what it is, and we're just gonna go. And sometimes we hit on stuff, and sometimes we don't. And if we had a good notebook, and if we had a guy that really knew a lot, I think we could probably do better. But it is what it is, and this is the story, and that's fine. I'm happy with it.
Well, I'll be honest, Adam. I think that's what a lot of people – I know that's what I enjoy about watching you race is that, honestly, when I think it was probably – it must have been maybe it was the Summerfest, or it wasn't, or it was Oktoberfest, I think, here. I had never really heard of Adam Pierson before because I'm a homegrown big block guy here in Central New York, and here comes a guy from Vermont to the Super DIRTcar Series races. You see that, and it doesn't always go very well, but man, you get better and better. Just keep your nose to the grindstone and keep working hard, and that's what people appreciate, and it's really paying dividends, I feel like, for you this year.
Well, I appreciate that. We definitely work hard. I wouldn't be here, without my dad, especially. He's the one that taught me from day one, and without him showing me the right way to race, be clean and don't be dirty, be respectful. You got to respect the people that you're racing with, and and then meeting a lot of people along the way. It's not just about one people. There's multiple people that's helped me get to where I am today. My wife Shauna. My kids, my dad, my mom, my family, fans. There's a lot of people rooting for us back in Vermont. So we got a big road to hoe, but it's still pretty cool to be part of this and be part of the series and to run with it. Like Matt Shepard and Jimmy and Larry White and Stuart Friesen, those guys. That's the stuff I kind of grew up on. I never expected I would be there, and here we are and running with them, and it's pretty awesome. Pretty cool.
I remember the first time I met Adam, it was at a sportsman race at the Land of Legends Raceway, and I made it a point to go over there because, number one, doing my homework, but number two, because I always read so much about him up at the Bear Ridge Speedway and seeing all the accomplishments that he's had up there. So I've always been a fan of Adam, and I'm glad to see that you're having the success. But I do have to ask of a favor, because you just said a line that I think would make a fantastic T-shirt. Your orange 215 on the front and on the back, all it says, "I'm just a redneck from Vermont." I think it'll sell.
Trademark it.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Adam,
Yeah.
thanks for taking time out of your busy
Not gonna
schedule.
lie, I guess I'm pretty truthful.
Nothing wrong with that. That's what we want. We want the truth. Adam, thanks for taking time out of your schedule to visit with us tonight. Look forward to seeing you down the road here in a couple of weeks at the next Super Dirt Series event out at the Albany-Saratoga Speedway. Stay safe, and thanks for being on tonight.
No problem. And I appreciate you guys having me on here, and it's pretty cool to talk to you guys. And Shane, you're one of the best guys to talk on the races. I told you that from Land of Legends back in the day. And Dan, I owe you a T-shirt from Fulton because you wanted a T-shirt because I went to the outside and Larry White. I won't forget it. I owe you a shirt.
Sounds good.
Adam Pierson, driver of the 215, coming to a dirt track near you. Thanks, Adam. When we return, Dan and I will take your questions, try and solve some problems, and maybe create a few more while we're here on Off Track TV.
Make way for the first ever Chevy Silverado CR2. With Multimatic shocks, rugged 33-inch tires, and front and rear electronic locking differentials.
Dude, this is awesome, but we should get back to work. This good? Perfect.
If you're going to work remote, work remote. Find new workspaces.
See your Central New York Chevy dealers.
Last night
Right off the thruway, Weedsport Speedway has something for everyone. Live music in the beer garden. Kids Play Zone. Weedsport Speedway's award-winning concessions. Meet the racers. Check out the cars. Get your swag on at the Gearbox. Treat yourself at Sunday's Ice Cream. And of course, the fastest cars and the biggest stars in dirt racing. Super Dirt Week kicks off at Weedsport Speedway on Tuesday, October 4th. Welcome back to Off Track TV Live. Dan Kapuscinski, Shane Andrews coming to you here tonight. And Dan, it seems like this show just continues to fly by every time we do it.
Yeah, no kidding. It's we ended that interview with Adam Pierson, and I'm thinking in my head, man, we got to have this guy back pretty quick because that was a lot of fun. And like you said, Shane, it happens with all of our guests. It's been a great year for that.
Well, Dan, you ready to take on some questions from our listeners and
Absolutely.
watchers? All right. Coyote Rex wants to know, what do you expect the surface to be like this year at Super Dirt Week?
Well, like I said earlier, I'm certainly no expert, but from what I've seen so far, it looks really good. You know, we've got some of the brightest minds that you can have in laying the surface down. I can assure you that everybody's going to do their absolute best to give us the best racing surface we can, and I'm going to be optimistic about that.
And I couldn't agree with those sentiments more. Rex, I'll be perfectly honest with you. If I had a crystal ball, I'd own my own island in the Caribbean because then I'd know everything. I can't predict the weather. I can't predict the future. Hell, I can't even predict how the Cowboys are going to do next week. So, and I got that game wrong, but Dan's Giants won. But I digress because I don't know what to expect. All I can ask for is everybody to be patient, everybody to be optimistic. Go in with your eyes wide open, your ears open, and your mouth closed. Let the track guys do their work, okay? It's an art. It's a science. We have some of the best people doing it. Jeremy Corcoran, Larry White, John White, the entire crew. Let them do their work, okay? Listen, we know what happened last year, okay? There's no denying it. But that was last year. We can't look at the past thinking of going forward and looking at the future. Right. Let's be optimistic. We're going to have a great surface. We're going to have a great event, and let the guys do their work, and they'll do it right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely right. All right. Pile Driver 44 wants to know, what is Dan's plans for 2023? Is he going for a three-peat?
Actually, we're not going to be going for a three-peat. Well, we do have a 350 Super Modified. So the next step up in the progression of Oswego. So the guys are already at work on that. So the plan is to bring that car out next year and run as much as we can. I'm probably going to pare my summer back a little bit. It's been a long 2 years. We've got a couple of vacations planned.
Someone's getting older in the Kapuscinski household.
Couple of kids. Michael started kindergarten, and but we're definitely going to race as much as we can in the 350 class. And who knows, maybe come Classic Weekend we'll bring the SBS car back out and do both. But No three-peat next year, but we're definitely still going to be in action at Oswego.
If you're reading between the lines, basically what he just said with Michael starting kindergarten, he'll be in a great sportsman by grade 1.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Dan, no matter what you do in 2023, best of luck, buddy. And
I appreciate
congratulations on those championships.
Thank you again.
One final question. This is from Race Chaser 22. Who do you guys think is going to be the points titleist for the Super Dirt Series at the end of the season?
Matt Shepard. That's my guess. Right,
right now.
I mean, he's got 164 points right now. It's funny that question came in because I did start paring down through the point standings a little bit. And Shane, you can attest to this better than me because you've been doing it for so long. But this stretch of the season can be treacherous sometimes. Things, if you get on a bad spell here in the next few weeks, if Dirt Week doesn't go well, things can change in a hurry. But 164 points to me seems like a pretty sweet cushion.
And you know what has separated Matt from everybody else? And I've said this at every Super Dirt Series race since I started looking at the numbers closer. We've had 14 Super Dirt Series events. Out of those 14 Super Dirt Series events, he has not finished out of the top 2 in a heat race, which puts him in the redraw. Now, the heat races pay points.
Right.
5 to win, 4 for second, okay? So that is an additional, a certain amount of points, I don't remember what the exact numbers are, that he has put in his pocket based on his qualifying efforts.
Yeah, that was actually Oswego awards points for heat races and time trials as well. And that was actually, in our run for the championship last year, that was the deciding factor for us. Get those quick times, get those heat wins, be fast every time you're on the track. And Matt has done that all year long. Even more important, like you said, to be in that redraw. You're not going to win races from outside of the top 12 spots 9 times out of 10. So you have to put yourself in position.
Once again, it's the fastest half hour in motorsports right here at Off Track
Absolutely.
TV. Our next show is Thursday, September 29th, 8 p.m. right here on Facebook Live. We hope everybody will join us for that. For Dan Kapuscinski and the guys behind the scenes, Brett Moses, Art Rourke, and Don Boshin, my name is the voice Shane Andrews saying thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on Off Track TV.